Belichick's first do-it-all player. He returned kicks. He played defensive back. He was a tailback. He was a wide receiver. Players like that don't exist much anymore. He is joining us at the Super Bowl via the Cowher Global Satellite Network. Troy Brown. By the way, Troy, you were offered a lot of money at the end to go to New Orleans and the Saints, and you turned it down. You stayed with New England. I'm sure Belichick loved that. You saw the wisdom in staying with the Patriots. Go back to that. Why didn't you leave?
Well, at that particular time, I was at the end of my career. You know, I probably had 1, 2, maybe pretty decent years left in me. And I just felt like at that particular time, I spent my entire career with New England. And why leave at that particular point and try to start something new and build a whole new foundation in New Orleans when I had the chance to stay in a place where I'd won 3 championships with New England, and I didn't really want to mess that up. And look, it's still paying off for me right now, you know. So they're still winning championships, and I get a trip to the Super Bowl every year.
He works for NBC in Boston. Troy, you saw the early Tom Brady when he wasn't as dominant. He didn't have the Randy Moss. What was the first sign to you that this guy was different?
Well, I think when he first came into the league, he was in there working out. He was there early. He was there late. The guys all had a tremendous amount of respect for Tom Brady. He was meeting with guys. I mean, one time we had a receiver, Vincent Brisby, back in 2000. He ran a route. Tom threw it a different direction. They missed it. You know, and Tom started walking down the field to meet Vincent halfway, and not in a disrespectful way, but he was just trying to figure out what Vincent was thinking on that particular pass pattern because he wanted to get on the same page with him. You know, you just don't see rookie quarterbacks doing those kinds of things, especially with veteran receivers. So, and from that point on, even Vincent had a tremendous amount of respect for him. It's like, this guy's ready to play. He wants to be good. He wants to get better. You know, let's help him along. So at that particular point, his leadership skills were on display.
You know, Brady's never been considered the athletic guy or the big arm guy, but you don't last this long without skills. Is his athleticism or his arm underrated to you?
Well, I don't know about his athleticism, but his arm could be underrated, especially at this point in his career. I think we saw Brady late in the season throwing some absolute lasers to a few guys. I think Cordell Patterson caught one. A few other passes he threw late in the season here to Edelman on those third down plays. Those passes had some zip on it, so he showed that he still got some arm strength left in him, you know, and I don't know where people are talking about, you know, he's losing arm strength, he's losing this, he's losing that, but he seems to be perhaps in the best physical shape I've seen him in his career.
Troy Brown joining us. Troy, when you looked at Belichick really embraced you, and you embraced it. Now, when you go back, you were an 8th-round draft pick. Why do you think so quickly Bill and you connected? Because, you know, he kind of squashes personalities. He's not for everybody, but you appeared to connect very early with him.
Well, I think Belichick came there in '96 as a defensive assistant after being fired from Cleveland. And at that particular point, he didn't say much. I didn't say much. We were two pretty quiet guys. And then he had the opportunity to come back in 2001. And then I was like basically one of his first signings that he made as the new coach of the New England Patriots. And at that particular point, he just said basically, you know, we had a hard enough time stopping you down with the New York Jets. So we want to bring you back here. And we're going to give you an opportunity to be a starting wide receiver here in New England alongside Terry Glenn at the particular time. So, I mean, all I ever ask from coaches is just to be honest with me. If I suck, tell me I suck. If I got a chance to be something, let me be that and give me an opportunity to be that. And Bill was always straight up with me.
Do you think the Belichick-Brady controversy in the offseason, their differences, was overblown, or do you think there was some stress between the two?
Oh, I'm pretty sure there was probably some stress between the two. I mean, they've been together for 18, 19 years. I mean, it's like trying to be married that long without any stress in the family, you know. I mean, I get mad at my kids, you know, but I still love them, you know, and I fuss at them, and I get after them, but I love them to death. I'd do anything in the world for them, and, you know, and that's kind of, I think, what happened with those guys last year, you know, and, you know, those kinds of things happen when you're in a long-term relationship like that. But, you know, the one great thing about it, they're all professionals. They're both professionals. They put it aside last year and were still able to make it to the Super Bowl. And it just shows you know, how they go about doing their job. Just true professionals about it.
Gronk doesn't have long in the league. Edelman's past his prime. Do you feel like the dynasty's coming to an end soon?
Well, I don't know about the player wise. You know, it was at a point earlier in this year where, you know, things were getting out of house, you know, and they were airing their grievances in public, you know, and I felt like things were getting out of hand then. But I think player-wise, I think they have the ability to always, you know, rebuild if guys decide to walk away from the game. You know, obviously they got to start replacing some of these guys offensively and defensively. You got Hightower and McCourty. Those guys are getting up there in age, so you need to start replenishing some of that. But I think as long as you have Belichick running the show, you have Tom Brady running things on offense and making his decisions there, and Dante Scarnecchia, I might add. I think he's been a key piece to that New England success as well. You know, I think they can pretty much, as long as those guys want to stick around, I think the dynasty will be intact.
By the way, you won 3 Super Bowls. That's a lot of Super Bowls. Tom's now been in 9. Do your Super Bowls, is each one, do you remember vividly, or do they kind of blur together?
Well, you kind of remember them pretty vividly, you know, for the most part. You know, just 2001 obviously sets aside from the rest of them because it was the first one. There was 9/11 stuff going on that year. We lost our quarterback coach died. Drew Bledsoe was knocked out. So you kind of remember a lot of things about different those different Super Bowls. So, but I can remember them just pretty vividly right now.
By the way, Belichick, Brady. Which one retires first? You know, Bill's getting close to 70. Everybody assumes it'll be Brady. But you know Bill pretty well. Is he going to do this for 7 more years?
That's the thing. I don't know, man. I mean, Bill's been in this thing for a long time. And I remember him saying a while ago that he wasn't going to be wasn't going to be like Marv Levy and retire at 71 or 72, whatever Marv Levy was at that particular point. So I think he's 66 now. So I think he's right about that 4-year mark. So I think they're both on pace to retire around the same time. Tom's 41. He said 45 was going to be his age. So I think they leave this thing together.
Okay, and finally, Sunday, I know you know the New England structure. You know that I would guess you like New England. I think it's going to look like last year's Super Bowl. I suspect we have a bunch of points with a bunch of good offensive players. What do you think?
You think no defense in this game?
I just think I think the Rams are very comfortable in shootouts. I think they're hard to stop, and I think Tom's hard to stop.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think for the Rams to have a chance in this football game, they cannot fall behind early in this game. They can't let the Patriots play the way they played the last 3 or 4 weeks here at the end of the season, where they just pound the ball and run it at you and run 8 minutes off the clock. It's hard to score when you don't have the ball. So, I mean, that's going to be tough on them. If they fall behind by a couple of scores early like they did against New Orleans, I don't think the Patriots are letting them back in.
Troy, great talking to you. Congrats on your career, man.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me on.
15 years with one team. That is just unheard of in any. That's, you know, you're getting into a Kobe Jeter thing. And he was the last guy for them that was kick returner, DB, wide receiver. You know, he was like Danny Woodhead. If Danny Woodhead went on defense too. Like Troy did everything for them. Belichick loved him. You know, Belichick's first big interview with Ernie Accorsi when he was in Cleveland trying to get the Browns job, Ernie Accorsi says the most amazing thing about Belichick in his first head coaching interview was that he could spend 3 hours on slot receivers, on defensive tackles. Everybody had a place. And Belichick's always loved people that can do, like, return guys that can do multiple things. And Troy Brown was his first, like, gadget guy that could do, because for Belichick, it's a salary cap league. If you can do 2 things over one thing, you save me money on players. By the way, don't let your age beat you. Want to feel stronger and younger and more vitality in your life? Go to buymdrive.com, code HERD, created 10 years ago. Walgreens, Walmart, Amazon, other fine retailers. Final hour, Chris Haynes. He's got all sorts of stories breaking today in the NBA next.